across the country. So if you can give a donation, small or large, you pick the number, whatever you feel it's worth to you. If the show actually resonates with you, and I won't be insulted if you give just $5 towards it, but that will make a difference significantly, and we don't make any other income. We have the Ready 123 TV, and if folks buy that, we get a few cents off that, but really it's 100% listener supported. We appreciate that sponsor because the app is really terrific. If you haven't picked that up, but watch all your movies and your TV shows, and you get it on our store page for $19.99. But it's very, very good. But wanted to share that with you because we definitely would like to forward momentum as we continue getting into more households across the country and sharing more of our views, which we believe are common sense views. But they have a conservative bent to them. I'm not going to lie. I'm an evangelical Christian, definitely lean a little bit more to the right. If you listen to many of my broadcasts, you'll hear that in my voice. But I feel like I'm fair and not one of these kooky, which sometimes the left will call. I think I'm nice, not rude and obnoxious, which some people can be. That I've listened to the shows that are just terrible, that you hear hate in their voice, and they like to fearmonger and race bait and all that other stuff, and that's just not us. That's not who we are. And we really like to resonate that we are for the people. And that means all Mr. and Mrs. America. It doesn't matter the skin color. It doesn't matter what religion you are. And we don't necessarily have to agree eye to eye about everything. I get some listeners that say right on the money, or they disagree with something, or they share their view with us. And we appreciate that so much. But if you can't make a stand, and if you especially cannot articulate it, then to me it's worthless. Have a spirited debate, but have an intelligent one. And understanding is the biggest thing. And we try to really bring out stories that matter. Water cooler discussion, we like to say frequently on the show. And that's by design because, what you talk about, we'd like to talk about. And again, have that discussion so more people are having that conversation, and mainly to equip people to be able to have the information in hand to make a difference right where you're at. And you can make a difference. Let me talk to you about one such individual, a teacher, that actually made a huge difference. And if one person can do this, think about what you can do right here with For the People. A little food for thought there. Katie Bloomquist, she teaches at Pepper Hill Elementary School in North Carolina, in New Charleston, and she was telling this is WCIV TV. You just, you made the C different. Well, she's reporting that she began her online fundraising campaign right after Labor Day last year, and she had a goal of $65,000. And Bloomquist says that she came up with this idea after a student told her that he wanted a bike, but his family could not afford one. So that's where she came up with raising this money. And guess what? She came up with the money. This was huge. She raised about $80,000, and guess how many bikes she bought? 650 bicycles for every student in her school. I mean, if you can't get on board with something like that, I don't know what else you can do. One person's vision. One person's vision. And you just think about, the dozen or so, those that our founding fathers that crafted our Constitution, were there to sign it, were there. Their vision of America and what their vision still means to America. But it just goes to show you that we can still do good things, positive things. So when you think you can't, look at one person can. And so your contribution to a good cause will go a long way. Because everybody feels like they can't make a difference, then nothing happens. But it is amazing what people will get on board for. And usually people will say, well, if it's a good cause, but let me see how many other people, get aboard. How many others do? I liken, what we do here at For the People. And I tell you, it was a lot easier to do what Chuck did back in the early 90s, late 80s, because there wasn't so much of it. And it does seem like in our day and age that there's just so many things vying for our money. It's the truth. The church is asking for money. The school is asking for money. I mean, that always floors me. I mean, we pay big taxes. I live in Hillsborough County in Tampa, Florida. We pay a lot of taxes, but still, they still have fundraisers. They still need money for this and that and everything in between. And so you put out the money. And it just seems like it's just never ending. And then, of course, we're cynical because then we think, oh, they're making so much money and they just say these things, and people are cynical. Don't be cynical over For the People. This is a broadcast that has a heart. We love America, and we fight for her every single day, for especially Mr. and Mrs. America. The same Mr. and Mrs. America that thought that they were forgotten by their politicians and had their voice heard, finally, by someone that wasn't a politician, that was a businessman. And we need to pray for this guy. We need to hold him up. And we need to help as much as possible. And one way to do that is get behind your senator. Make sure that your voice is known. And you write your senator, you email, whether it's locally, and if you live in Florida, in Tallahassee, wherever your capital is, all the way to Washington. You got to make your voice heard one by one. And we can make a difference for a greater America, more prosperous America, more safe America. And more good people just do good things, and we're going to have just so much better times if people just come together collaboratively, kind of like those bikes that were purchased. It had nothing to do with politics, by the way. It was just having kids be able to get on bikes, be able to ride to school and exercise and have one because, believe it or not, there's some parents that simply can't afford a bike. They're just trying to keep the lights on. That's it. This was an odd story to come across after so long from 9/11. But the FBI, yes, your Federal Bureau of Investigation, they decided to release an archive of photographs showing the devastation at the Pentagon in the wake of the 9/11 terror attacks. And it brought it all back for me. 27 photos uploaded to the FBI website, and they've been published by the Associated Press. Fox News has got them out. You can see all these pictures. But the photos show fragments of American Airlines Flight 77. Now, a lot of folks, for whatever reason, have said that there was no plane that crashed into the Pentagon. Well, friends of mine live in D.C. area and saw that plane diving down and crashing into the Pentagon. And there were plenty of businesses and governmental cameras that showed this very thing. So the conspiracy theory behind the Pentagon is a bunch of horse you-know-what. But you can see real detailed photographs, crime scene evidence and things like that, and firefighters combating the blaze, and emergency responders rushing to the scene are all included in this collection. And I'm not quite sure why, but they decided to release these photographs now. But, man... what a nasty attack it was and how scary it was on that day, 9/11. A total of 189 people died at the Pentagon, including 125 who worked at the facility. It was a big number of people that were lost their lives that day. And you want to talk about non-political coming together at the Capitol, where Democrats and Republicans held hands and actually prayed for their loved ones and prayed for this country like never before. I wish we had that same fervency today. Democrats, Republicans, Tea Partiers, would honestly come together in unity and put aside all of this this bickering and all this rhetoric. But it's more divided than ever before. I am just out there with what people are thinking. The segment is, to me, it's unfortunate. I think it's very, very sad. But that's the way things are, and people are creatures of habit, and they're going to run to where it just kind of makes sense for them. But again, there's a lot of people that don't have really much thinking of their own. It's a lot easier just to follow the crowd and follow other people's thinking, even if it is shallow and doesn't have any substance to it, which is most news channels, the mainstream media. Well, speaking about the April Fool's weather phenomenon that's going to be taking place and hammering the Northeast, there's a comet that's going to be making its closest flyby since it was discovered in 1858 and can be seen by us Earthlings as it makes its approach this Saturday. They're saying it's a close call. It'll still be, 13.2 million miles away, noted the website earthsky.org. You can go there now, check it out. Neat site, earthsky.org. And skywatchers will need at least a small telescope or good binoculars to see the comet as it whizzes by. It's a comet. And the comet officially is named 41P/turtle Gemini-Kresak, and was mistaken for a different comet spotted back in 1907 and 1951. After the 1951 sighting, astronomers realized there was actually just one comet and named it for its discoveries on those occasions. Horus Turtle 1858, Gorabani 1907, and Labor in Kresak in 1951. So there's all the jargon for you. And the website Science Alert said that since the comet is not very big, it will be 50 times too faint to be seen with the naked eye. Thus, the binoculars or the telescope, but good binoculars, good ones, or small telescopes. You know anybody that likes to stargaze or comet gaze? Check it out. USA Today said the National Weather Service is predicting clouds could obscure the sight for much of the Northeast. Well, given the conditions, and the Central Plains and Pacific Northwest on Saturday night, but the rest of the country should be clear. So there you go. Desert Southwest, you're in the Midwest, enjoy yourself. Here's a really scary story. I don't particularly like to be on the side of a tractor trailer going down the highway, and probably nor do you, and usually you try to either speed up or get in another lane. But police on Tuesday arrested a trucker they say drove nonstop. This is a true story, from Seattle to Massachusetts, fueled by crystal meth, LSD, and cocaine. This is very serious. The Deerfield police say they responded to a convenience store parking lot off Interstate 91 for reports of a truck driver who appeared to be despondent after he locked himself out of his own cab. And that's probably good news to get the guy off the road. Officer Adam Shalosky tells the Recorder of Greenfield that responding officers determined the driver was displaying signs of drug use. And it appeared the driver didn't rest, only used drugs, and he drove from Seattle, Washington to Deerfield with a destination on the East Coast, the police posted on social media. And the driver allegedly told police of his drug use and was reluctantly taken to the hospital after quit the struggle. So the driver, identified as Gary Robbins of Homer, Alaska, was charged with operating under the influence of drugs and several motor vehicle violations. He'll be summoned to court. He could not be reached for comment. I wouldn't think so if he's behind bars. A lot of truck drivers out there on stuff. Not all. A lot of them are good family people that are on the road, so not dissing truck drivers. We have listeners and supporters actually that are truck drivers. And good for you. It's a dangerous job out there. And one of the biggest obstacles for truck drivers would